You're just like an Indian princess. And that phrase, I just hate it because it reminds me of those photographs that you're researching. And so, although it's really something kind of uncomfortable and difficult, I think it's really wonderful that you're starting to look into that, and maybe other people might start to research that so we can have a voice. I don't know if you have any comments.
Thank you. Is this on?
Okay. Thank you. That is actually part of a published essay in the catalog from the International Center of Photography's Only Skin Deep, Changing Visions of the American Self. I am publishing on that, and that was like the 3-minute version of a huge study. My reason for actually wanting to talk about those photographs also is because I am very proud of those nude photographs of those women. Pima Beauty, I would love to take you District 6 on Gila River and say, does anybody recognize their grandmother? Because I think they need to be identified. And the whole, the catalog, the tome, big, thick, you can buy it on Amazon.com for half price. The hardcover is half price at $27. So the softbacks are not, or the paperbacks are not available as yet. But the show is touring for the next 2 years and is at the Seattle Art Museum right now. But anyway, yes, those particular photographs I think really need to be claimed back into the communities. And also part of my reasoning is that I get so tired of the Christianization and the colonialized mentality of dealing with tribal cultures that I really, I think there comes a point where you need to say, yes, we did not wear clothes. We did not wear our little princess outfits every time that we do the Indian Princess NCAI little costume deal. I don't think there's ever going to come a time when the Pimas are going to go back to being bare-breasted, but it's a historical fact, and I think we need to reclaim that fact, and that was part of the reason that I chose to write on that. Plus, nobody writes on that. It's everybody denies that it's there, as if Indian sexuality never existed. Sorry.
How do you know when you take a photograph on a Native American whether you're going to be offending them by the photo? I took some beautiful photos of dancers. They were Lakota dancers, and they were doing the stomping on the grass. I'm wondering, would that be offensive if I were to make a postcard over or publish it? How would you know? Do you have to ask permission from the individual?
Well,
I did. I talked to the mother of the young man.
yeah, if you talk to them, I mean, it's a difficult question to answer because I don't know the specifics, but the work I do, I very rarely do that kind of photography. I mean, I actually, if it was at a powwow, I actually just will not photograph at a powwow. I think that's one of the, don't get me started on powwows, but I think it's one of the terrible things in terms of it's not like for Navajos, it's not part of our culture. But I think, if you approach somebody and they say it's okay, then I guess it's okay. But I actually do not do that kind of work. I'm too shy to go up to somebody that I don't know and ask them if I can take their picture. What I do is I go and I stay and I research a story. I spend 3, 4, 5 days with somebody. It's more like that kind of work. So in terms of just I call drive-by shooting. I don't do much of that kind of work.
Well, I spoke with the elders and I asked them, first of all, will they be offended if I took their photos? And they told me it was okay. But then I photographed them and then I approached the mother of the young man because I thought he was just so handsome, so beautiful in his colorful costume. And then when they danced, I was just fascinated by the whole thing. In fact, I thought that men dance. I'm from Latin America, so I felt like the men had all the rhythm. The women were so subtle in their movements. So I ended up photographing a lot but I haven't done anything with the photos. So I guess I'll just have to look more into not offending anyone, like you said, just talk to people.
I can usually project, having been a teacher. But I was just curious, how much has Sewell did of that sort of stuff with whites, with the Anglos? Did he do anything like that? Does anybody know?
The Sewell collection, there is so little material that was saved. His glass plate negatives would be sent back to his brother in Boston. And literally, the National Anthro Archives, Smithsonian purchased, was it 96 from his daughter who sold them. And they were also split up between a partner who was in Pasadena. The glass plate negatives are at the LA County Museum of Natural History, I believe. Do you have glass plates in NEA?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And National Anthro Archives. The Sewells that I saw up in the Beneke collection at Yale were just prints of a photo album that had been privately owned by a translator from the Fort Marion time period. I have never seen non-Indian Sewell photos other than he was originally hired to document the construction of Fort Sill itself in 1869 to 74, and there are existing photographs of camp scenes and also of the fort itself as it's being constructed. There was one portrait that I did see of a soldier, fabulous profile with a large mountain in the background that has not been published. But he basically was known for his Indian celebrities, is how the broadside lists him. He was known as an Indian photographer, but he practiced as a photographer in Boston until his death in 1908. So I'm sure in Boston he was not shooting Native American people. And Paula knows everything because she's the former archivist for the National Anthropology Archives.
But he had a brother, and the brother circulated photographs of European paintings that showed Anglo women in those positions. So it didn't. Oh, yeah. So, but it was a painting.
Where are those?
We'll talk later.
Well, okay.
We have time for one more question. Then we're going to have to get through.
I'd like to address this to Dr. Faris. What's the role of the model release in protecting both the subject of the photograph and the photographer?
The model release protects the photographer, period. Because what that does is that says that I am not going to, if I take a photograph of you in public and you agree to it, you sign this, it says that you're not going to hold me responsible for anything but a gross misrepresentation. And there's a lot of latitude. So model releases just protect photographers, basically.
That was a quick question, so if there's one more, we can take one last question.
Not so much a question, but I just wanted to say that if anybody is in here wanting to get permission to photograph Native people, I think you should really do a lot of research, and as opposed to just coming to the symposium, asking Monty or people a question here and then feeling like you have the right to photograph us without really doing the research or getting to know the community, it's really important. And even though women seem like they don't have rhythm in a dance, they play a huge, huge role in the community. And if people don't know that and you're photographing us, you should take the time to get to know us before you put us in the calendar or in a postcard.
Can I also say that Melanie is famous for photographing everybody? For those who don't know, that's Melanie Yazzie, professor of art here at the University of Arizona.